Hey everybody, welcome to day 17's grid video. This is us doing the beautiful, I think he's a golden retriever lab mix. Maybe he's just a pure lab holding the bouquet of flowers. This is the one I've been really looking forward to doing this whole month just personally. So I'm really pumped to be doing this. I'm going to show you how you can use the gridding method to draw something in accurately freehand. Even if you don't have a lot of drawing skills, it's incredibly useful. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
He is going to keep me company while I do this.
Am I?
So, yeah, so I'm not
Am
alone.
I really?
I always be alone here, just gridding away. So let's just jump right on in.
Okay.
Now, as we are wont to do, we like to put wishes or intentions or concepts on our canvas that we want to put positivity into the universe. And these are end to parvo. We just like to see that illness be over. That's not nice for puppies. And kindness and justice for all animals. So what I basically mean like that is just that decent compassion that we should have for all living things, ourselves being living things. Whatever that means for you, be the kindest, best self that you can be. I want to tell you what that is, because boy, doesn't everybody tell us how to live these days. So, and then may every animal that needs one find a forever home. So I thought those were good wishes.
Yeah.
Now, the background for this, we did some color tests earlier about his fur and his nose and some of the colors that I thought might be challenging. For the background, it actually occurred to me, I was going to go green, but I realized what I actually might want to do is take my ultramarine and my Naples yellow and mix these two together, because I think it's going to give us almost the grayish background that really crazy painting might have. So you can even take some of this and even a little bit of white if you need to. And it'll just it just kind of grays it out. So that gives us the beginning of something to paint over.
Now, that chalk you used won't affect your painting, will it?
Oh, well, if this were not as dark of a paint as it is, I would wash it into the canvas. I'm using a watercolor pencil. I picked a pigment that's not going to mess with the color I'm mixing on here. So I won't have any trouble. And I'm going to be going a little bit darker as I come down, maybe. Let's see how that goes. But mostly what I'm trying to do is get a single coat of color over the whole canvas.
Just a even ground to paint on.
just a ground to paint on. Why would you do that? There's a bunch of reasons to do ground. One, it helps you have a more finished looking painting. Your work will look more considered even as you are a student earlier if you take the time to do underpaintings, value studies, or grounds on your canvas, like a grisaille. Any of those methods really help you. Also, if you're painting maybe a less expensive surface or paper, going ahead and painting the entire surface with a coat of acrylic and allowing it to bond before you paint actually gives you a better painting experience. This weird one little step means you don't have to go out and buy super expensive canvases to improve your painting experience significantly. I'm not saying don't do it. It's a joy, let me tell you, if you get into some of the good ones. But this is a way to improve the quality of your experience without having to hit your budget too particularly hard.
Now, remind me, there was a trick, because when you're working on these surfaces, they tend to collect paint on the edges, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make sure you wipe off those edges.
Yeah, if you're gonna be touching them, it's gonna jump up and get you. Don't get in your white tracksuit and then do this. If you want it to stay a white tracksuit, if you don't really care, have a blast. Because again, I don't want to tell you what to do. But I lost my hairdryer. I'm gonna dry this with my hairdryer.
Okay.
John's gonna just talk to you beautiful people, and I'm gonna show you how to grid this in as soon as we're done.
Okay. While she's doing that, I'm going to say, hey, y'all, thank you for joining us in Acrylic April. This has been a pretty exciting, really cool event for me. I've gotten to see a lot of new people from all over the world come in and join us. I have to say thank you, guys. It's been a really, really wonderful experience for me to see all of this beautiful work come in, to see you all come together in this time and just sort of celebrate art in what is just been a fantastic experience for me to watch from this great vantage point. So thank you guys for making this a wonderful Acrylic April for me. So happy Acrylic April to all!
Woo!
Okay, we're back. I was wishing everybody a happy Acrylic April.
Oh, I hope you guys are having a happy Acrylic April. Or if you're finding this painting at some other time of year, I hope you're having a good time, putting it together.
Mm.
Can't wait to see what you do. Share with us on the social media.
On the
Let us-
socials.
On the socials.
On the social.
On the social.
If you were from the 90s, it might be the anti-social media.
I miss my swishy pants. All right. I just really want those to come back. So every 2 inches, I'm going to make a mark. This is a white charcoal pencil. This is by Generals. They're not pricey. I come along every 2 inches. If you're doing centimeters, it's 5, a little over 10, and between 15 and 15.5 centimeters. Once you've made those marks, you can use your T-square to create some very straight lines. So we'll go across and make some of those nice straight lines. Because otherwise it can be kind of hard to, freehand a grid. I got a really good question, John.
What's that?
About how I make my grids. Is it an app or do I do it myself? Now, I'm not sure. There's probably an app that I haven't seen. If I find one, I'll let you know. But I actually hand gridded mine in Pixelmator.
You just made a little grid template-y thing. And
I did. I built a grid using my ruler, guides, and line tool. And then I merged them all together and put a transparent layer on there. And that way I could just put that over any image that I had. And I did one in white and I did one in black. And that let me get through the 30 images pretty easily. But I'm sure somebody has to have done a gridding tool by now.
If not, I shall look into it.
Right. Like, if not, we should make one. If there isn't one, we'll fix it.
I'll get back to y'all.
So how the grid works, if you've never seen this before, is instead of taking in the entire image, whoops. Then these are the same exact size coming out of the printer. You look at just what's in each square. So you only take in that little bit of information and try to avoid getting totally out, and that way you won't get lost in the object relationships. So if you say, oh, his ear sort of ends this square here, and then his head, and it's shocking to me because when I see the space on my canvas, it doesn't feel like there's enough room for the rise of his ear, which actually ends right here, to come down and then come up starting the bump of his head. It doesn't feel like it. It is, but it doesn't feel like it. I'm going to come down to the grid below it and take his little ear off. Not like cut it off, just, Now,
just have it go off the canvas.
The ear actually ends sort of right down here and comes through here. So that's how you get that wonderful flopped over ear angle, which can be a little bit hard, right? And then it comes straight up. Tell me that is not the best experience you've had with your folded dog ears. So many of you asked me, how do I paint my pet? And I did a video series about that once. But what really everybody meant is like specifically like, what's the process? So I'm going to come right here and I'm noticing that his little divot is, oh gosh, about here on my grid. And then down here, the ear kind of exits off, which means the front part of the ear is almost here. So whatever I do, it has to kind of fit in that space. And I'm just trying to do the nice little bump at the top of his head. And again, I would have spatially lost that. My sense of his being important would have confused me deeply. Now his little ear kind of comes
really
out
help.
there. Huh?
Sorry, I didn't mean your.
No, it's good.
I keep stepping on you. Those grids seem to really help.
They really do. It's a good practice. Good practice to be in.
Good practice.
Good practice. And I have to look, did I get this far enough over? Right? I might need to make this over. So see, it helps you find that guidance of relationships. Because I've got to talk about his mouth, which comes over about that far in the grid. So I'll say I might have to move his ear over. So if we come down, maybe it's almost at the halfway point. So his mouth's going to come back like that. His eye is right here in this space of the grid, so his muzzle will start to travel down from there. So see, I'm just trying to take in this relationship of items. That was going to let me make sure that I get enough space off here to get the ear in. See how we did? And because I'm only taking in this, it's easy to fix, easy to see. And I can refine what I drew, but at least I know where stuff is. Bring it around here for his little muzzle. You know, how far over is the nose? Because his nose comes right here, doesn't it? And crosses in and out. And then over. And I'm just trying to see where each object is in its grid. Not the whole thing, just each object in its grid.
The nose knows.
The nose knows. And then if I do that, I have to have the top of the head has to come up from the top of his nose. So wherever I put that, I really have to pay attention up here. That's just because skull symmetry. Skulls are symmetrical usually. Maybe, you know, Temperance Brennan has run into a few not symmetrical skulls, but the rest of the skulls are pretty
I think
true.
that there are some weird asymmetrical fish, like the flounder and
Okay.
flatfish.
Except for fish.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So actually the nose comes up above this line, and see, I got away from my grid and I started freehanding, and then it got away from me. And that's just the important thing to realize, is that things will get away from you as you go, and this will keep you from losing it. I love dogs' noses. They're so crazy. They really are. You're like, they're the craziest little things, man. It's like, dude, I got nose. And that comes across here, and this comes across here and comes back because there is the flower. Now, symmetrically, we know that we're going to want the nose to be similar in space. And so even though I'm going to have a flower, it's going to sit pretty resoundingly right here in this part of the grid. And I won't do the petals because that'll be a last minute thing, but at least I know where it's taking shape. Right? And we know the bouquet comes out about here. And then some of the bouquet, ooh, it really like fills up like a lot of this space, doesn't it? So we'll have to, I think I'll come in and get his little chinny chin underneath here.
Yeah.
Comes around. Now, at the tip of his ear, there's a little fur that sort of happens here. And then we sort of see a bit of a shoulder, but that goes off because he's a big wide boy. He is. He's a big wide boy.
Happy dog.
He's a happy dog. I'm going to come right here and say, oh, there's this wonderful little leaf. It'll be like a focal leaf. Maybe there's another little wonderful little leaf comes down here. And this is going to spatially, we're going to loosely think about this, like you do, as coming through here. But a lot of it's really, really going to be, like, look how far it goes down. This bouquet takes up a lot of the image space. And so I'm not really doing much more than saying, hey, where do I think all of this is going to be? And actually it comes right here. So see, you have to see it. And then there's this flower, which I am going to talk about very specifically. Comes up to here. And then we have those other weird flowers. Now I kind of have a sense that the bouquet is taking up that much space. In the middle of this square is his chest, so now I have his width. Right underneath his chin is one of the little fur bits. This comes down through here. And right through here, it starts to change direction. So it's going to really be about us catching that directional change of the fur to really make it feel like fur. And then also right above here, I've got another little daisy, which I am going to make the trouble of dealing with. Now the eyes. That's the last thing that I really got to process. So if I come right here down, I'm going to say, okay, there's an eye there. And I'm going to come over here in the center over, and then there's an eye here. So there's a nice bit of space on the fur. The eye comes up and goes down. I love the little puppy dog eyes.
Yeah.
They're always spectacular. Similar thing here, up, down. And this is going to be my favorite painting, I'm sure. I'm
Happy
sure, I'm
dog.
sure. He's got some little eyes coming here. So this is going to be great. He's going to be fantastic. He's going to have little teeth right here. Like this little bit of teeth, and I'll have to decide if I'm going to really talk about that. But I might put in little marks of white teeth because that's so very dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just so very dog.
Especially when there's one little tooth that sticks out over the lip. Just one.
Just one. I'm going to just make sure, because I'm going to paint this quite loose. I just want to have a sense of the space. All right. Let's go.
All right.
So we've gridded him in. I'm really excited about painting him live with you tomorrow. Or if you're here on the replay, painting him on the replay with you tomorrow. I hope that the gridding helped you see how he gets laid in, and even seeing me having to stop and re-relate objects to each other so that you understand these spatial relationships that your brain does. It's a big deal. And it's a practice that you constantly have to hone. So never feel bad that you do. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye. Bye.